Hello, sports fans. It is Tuesday, February the 19th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday weekend. We have a lot to recap. We're also going to do our college basketball top 25 today. Tomorrow, we're going to do our NHL. Thursday, we're going to do NBA, plus a little Oscar preview because the Oscars are coming up next Sunday, as well as the Daytona 500, which is coming up next Sunday as well. So we have a lot to get to. I wanted to start real quickly with Dr. Buss, the longtime Lakers owner, passing away yesterday at the age of 80 years old. Dr. Buss, one of the all-time great owners in any sport, just a classic owner. I mean, you have to remember, when Dr. Buss purchased the Lakers in 1979, Los Angeles was a Dodger town. He made it a Laker town. He's credited with bringing Showtime to Los Angeles with Pat Riley and Magic and Kareem and all those great teams. 10 NBA titles. The Lakers went to the finals 16 times in Dr. Buss's 34 years. Just think of that. The Lakers were in the championship series basically half the time he owned the team. He owned the team 34 years. They were in the championship 16 times, won it 10 times. I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, the Lakers, one of the all-time great franchises. Dr. Buss, one of the great owners in any sport. And listen to this. He bought the team in 1979 for $67 million. Now it's worth $1 billion. And now he hands the reins over to Jim Buss, his son. I'll tell you, Jim Buss has big shoes to fill. Not easy following Dr. Buss. Dr. Buss, you will be missed. You are one of the great owners in all of sports. He will be missed. All right, let's move over to what happened over the weekend. Let's start with the NBA All-Star Game. I mean, the West beat the East by 5 points. I mean, Paul was the MVP. I can't get into these All-Star games. I just can't. I cannot get into these All-Star games. I can't get into the NBA All-Star game. They don't play any defense until maybe late in the fourth quarter. I can't get into the NHL All-Star game at all. Forget the NFL All-Star game, the Pro Bowl. That's a complete joke. I don't even like the Major League Baseball All-Star game because they've made, the winner get home field advantage in the World Series. I can't get into any of these All-Star games. I can't even get into the dunk contest where Ross won. I can't get into the three-point contest. I can't get into the skills competition. It was in Houston this year. Houston's not a great sports town. I am not a big lover of All-Star games, and the NBA All-Star game, I tried to get into it. You just can't get into it. I used to like it back in the day when I was younger, and you saw Jordan in the slam dunk contest. That's another thing. None of the big stars want to be in the dunk contest. So you had all these guys in the dunk contest who are not stars. A lot of them don't even get off the bench. LeBron won't even participate in the dunk contest. You need those guys involved in the dunk contest to get people excited. Like, say you had LeBron and Kobe and Durant in the dunk contest. Yeah, you'd be into it. Not with, Ross and these other guys. These guys aren't stars. They're not well known. Yeah, they had a couple of nice dunks, don't get me wrong. It's just not the same when you don't have those big superstars in the dunk contest. So the dunk contest, the three-point contest, the All-Star game itself, to me, has lost its luster completely. I just cannot get into it at all. Before the All-Star game took place, a couple days before, the last day I was with you on Thursday, there was a doubleheader in the NBA, and Miami just blasted Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City, and the Clippers routed the Lakers, and that was a Laker home game. Two big statement games there. I was very impressed with Miami. And Oklahoma City, they got to figure out a way to beat the Heat. They can beat anyone else. They cannot beat the Heat, and the Heat went into Oklahoma and just laid the wood on Oklahoma City. So big statement game there by Miami, and the Clippers routed the Lakers. No doubt in my mind, the Clippers are much better than the Lakers. The Lakers have all sorts of problems. So that was some NBA, before the All-Star game. NBA doesn't resume until tomorrow, so we have no NBA tonight. As far as some of your NHL over the weekend, the Islanders beat the Rangers and the Devils, and then they followed that up with a 7-0 loss at home to the Flyers. So the Islanders, as usual, can't stand prosperity. They win 2 and they get dropped 7-0 yesterday to the Flyers at home. Montreal, they are rolling. They beat Florida, Philly, and Carolina. Montreal is playing tremendous hockey, getting great goaltending. Buffalo beat Boston, then they lost to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beat Winnipeg and Buffalo. Pittsburgh continues to play well. Anaheim beat Detroit, Nashville, Columbus. Anaheim is the surprise team in the NHL. Chicago continues its winning ways. They beat San Jose and LA. And the Devils lost to the Islanders, but then they beat Philly, and then they lost to Ottawa. So the Devils up and down the last few games. Overall, Devils doing a nice job, though. As far as your college basketball, Gonzaga beat St. Mary's and San Francisco. Colorado beat Arizona, but then lost to Arizona State. Louisville beat St. John's. St. John's on the bubble. We'll get to them in a second. Minnesota had a tremendous win against Wisconsin, a game they should have never won. They pulled it out of the fire and won. And then what do? They lose to Iowa right after that. Wisconsin, the opposite. They have a terrible loss to Minnesota. Then they just drub Ohio State. Georgetown beat Cincinnati. Georgetown's on fire. Maryland beat Duke. It seems Maryland always gives Duke problems. Kansas bombed Texas. Kansas is back to their winning ways after their 3-game losing streak. Awful year for Texas. Marquette beat Pitt, and then Pitt followed that up with a bad loss to Notre Dame last night, a game they were winning 19-3, and Pitt lost that game. Pitt could be out of the top 25. Villanova, 2 nice wins. Beat UConn, then beat Rutgers. Villanova on the bubble had to have it. They did it. Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma in Stillwater in a very nice atmosphere. Nice rivalry game there. Providence drubbed Notre Dame, which I was surprised about, but then Notre Dame responded well, and like I said, beat Pitt on the road last night after being down 19-3, and Tennessee beat Kentucky 88-58. Kentucky lost their big man for the year. Kentucky may not make the tournament now. They lost by 30 points. They look like they've had it for this year. So Kentucky loses by 30 to a mediocre Tennessee team. Last night in the women's college basketball, huge game. Baylor went into UConn and beat UConn after falling behind early in the game. Baylor is a powerhouse in women's college basketball, and we know UConn is good, so never easy to beat UConn at UConn in women's college basketball. Baylor did it last night. So that's some of the scores from over the weekend. Let's go to our top 25 in college basketball. We're going to go 25-1. We're going to give you the records, a little synopsis of each team. All right, number 25, Notre Dame. They're 20-6. Like I said, they were bombed by Providence, but then they came back and had a nice win at Pitt, so a nice rebound win for Notre Dame. Number 24, Virginia Commonwealth. They're 21-5. They've won 7 in a row. At St. Louis tonight, big game, big game. I mean, want to definitely check out that game if you can. Virginia Commonwealth at St. Louis. St. Louis now has a new arena. They've had it for a couple of years now, an on-campus arena. Very nice atmosphere. Check out Virginia Commonwealth, St. Louis. Number 23, Oregon. They're 21-5. They've won 3 straight. They've done it without Dominic Artis in the lineup. He's their really nice guard. He's been out with an injury. Hopefully he'll get back soon. They've won 3 straight without him. Oregon, really nice athletic program. Number 22, Colorado State, 21-4. Are you kidding me? Colorado State, big week for Colorado State at UNLV, home for New Mexico, 2 huge games. Number 21, Memphis, they're 22-3. They've won 16 in a row. It seems Memphis every year has these long winning streaks. Number 20, Pitt, they're 20-7. They lost twice this year to Marquette, and they also blew a big lead to Notre Dame at home last night. They're up 19-3 to Notre Dame at home and lost. Pitt could be out of the top 25. Number 19, Wisconsin, they're 18-8. After blowing the game to Minnesota, they had a nice win against Ohio State. Number 18, Ohio State, they're 18-7. Like I said, bombed by Wisconsin. Not looking good, Ohio State. I don't like the way they're playing. Earlier in the year, they were in the top 5. Now they're 18. They're really falling back. Didn't like the way they looked at all against Wisconsin. They were blown out of that game. Number 17, Marquette. They are 18-6. They are first in the Big East, tied for first in the Big East. Amazing Marquette is this good considering all the players they lost last year, and they didn't add that much, or at least we didn't think they added that much. Marquette tied for the Big East lead. Amazing job by them. Number 16, New Mexico. They are 22-4 at Colorado State over the weekend. Huge game. Number 15, Butler. They're 21-5. I did watch them against Fordham at Fordham. They struggled in that game. Did not look good, but they did get the win. Number 14, Oklahoma State, 19-5. They are on fire. 7 in a row, winning a lot of close games. They host Kansas coming up soon. Oklahoma State on absolute fire. Remember, they beat Kansas at Kansas this year. Number 13, Kansas State, 21-5. Kansas State doesn't have a bad loss this year. All the games they lost were the good teams. Number 12, Arizona. They are 21-4. They are 1 game behind Oregon in the Pac-12. Arizona plays a lot of close games, They usually pull them out. They did lose the last game close. Arizona's still a solid job. They have fallen back a little bit. They were a little higher ranked earlier in the year. Number 11, Georgetown, 19-4. On fire, Georgetown. Won 7 in a row at Syracuse on Saturday. That's a tremendous game. Otto Porter looks like one of the best players in college basketball. Number 10, Louisville. They're 21-5. They've won 5 of 6. They can win it all. Louisville is a solid team. We know Pitino can coach. Number 9, Kansas. They're 21-4 at Oklahoma State on Wednesday. I mentioned that before. That's a tremendous game. Very interesting game. They've won 2 in a row, Kansas. After losing 3 straight, they look like they're back to their winning ways. Number 8, Syracuse, 21-4. Tied for first as well in the Big East. They have Sutherland back. Syracuse a threat to win it all as well. Number 7, Michigan. They're 22-4. They're not playing well. They have a lot of youth on this team. Haven't been playing well recently. Even when they beat Penn State over the weekend, didn't look great. Number 6, Duke. They had a 6-game win streak. Then they lost at Maryland. Still need Kelly in the lineup. Have to have Kelly back if they're going to make a Final Four run. Number 5, Florida. They're 21-3. They've won 3 straight. Florida, really, really solid team. Number 4, Michigan State. They're 22-4. They lost to Indiana at Indiana this year. They have the rematch tonight at Michigan State. Very nice game. Must-watch game. Indiana at Michigan State tonight. Number 3, Gonzaga. They're 25-2. They can be a number 1 seed. Right now, I think they're a 2 seed. They can be a 1 seed. They're a legit team. Number 2, Miami. Miami of Florida, number 2 in college basketball. 21-3. Played bad at Clemson, still won. Undefeated in the ACC. Miami of Florida, number 2. This isn't football. Unbelievable what Miami's doing this year. And number 1, Indiana, 23-3. At number 4, Michigan State tonight in a to-die-for game. Please, you guys watch that game tonight. Set your DVR. You tape it. Watch the game. It should be a madhouse at East Lansing tonight. Number 1, Indiana going to number 4, Michigan State. It doesn't get better than that in the regular season of college basketball. Must watch TV. So that is your top 25 in college basketball. Here's some bubble teams that are right on the bubble right now. I would say St. Mary's, Virginia, Indiana State, and Cal are all on the bubble right now. I think those 4 teams are in. Can't afford any slip-ups, though. They're right on the bubble. Cal had a big rally against USC over the weekend, by the way, so Cal needed that game. They pulled it out. They were down early that game. Montgomery, the coach, though, for Cal, got into some trouble. One of his players was lagging back. He was jogging back. Montgomery did not like it. He pushed him in the huddle. That's a no-no in college basketball this year. Pac-12 reprimanded him. Cal reprimanded him. That's the type of stuff you could lose your job over. In this day and age, you can't do that stuff. You cannot put your hands on a player. He blatantly shoved the player. Afterwards, he apologized. Player downplayed it. Looks like his job is safe. He did get reprimanded. That is the stuff that could cost you your job. One moment. Montgomery has been a good coach. He coached at Stanford, coached at the NBA. He's now at Cal. He's had an impeccable record. Never an incident like this. One little slip-up like this could cost you your job. He was lucky he didn't get fired for that. He blatantly shoved that kid. You can't do that in the year 2013. Can't get away with that stuff. So Montgomery in a little hot water there. Looks like he will survive. As far as teams that are on the outside looking in right now, I'd say Arizona State, St. John's, Temple, and Villanova. Close, but maybe on the outside looking in. Need to put together some wins. Villanova has done it recently. They won last night. Those teams are right on the bubble. Could go either way. Teams I think are a little out of it right now. Stanford, Boise State, BYU, and Maryland. Even though Maryland did beat Duke, it got them back into the conversation. I still don't think they have enough to get in right now. Still have some time, though. As far as teams I think are out, Xavier, I think, is out right now, and they're always in the tournament. Charlotte, UMass, even Arkansas. I don't see those teams making it right now. They do have a little time. There are some games left. There's about 5-6 games left in the regular season. Plus, you have your conference tournaments. You win your conference tournament, you automatically get in. So there is still hope for those teams. And another team, Minnesota, who everyone has in, I'm not so sure about them, and here's why. They're 6-7 in the conference. They're at Ohio State this week and home for Indiana. Say they drop those 2 games, which they could very well drop those 2 games. At Ohio State, home for Indiana. They're 6-9 in the conference. The committee doesn't like when you have a conference record that's under 500, especially 3 games under. Minnesota's got to find a way to win one of these games. To me, they're a bubble team, although most people right now have them in. I think they're in danger considering their schedule coming up. They drop these 2 games, which I think they will. I don't think they're winning at Ohio State, and I don't think they're beating Indiana. 6-9 in the conference. That doesn't look good. So that's kind of a little overview on your college basketball, who's in, who's out. Like I said, we have some time for college basketball, but we are getting down to the nitty-gritty. A couple other news and notes over the weekend. As far as boxing, I did watch Adrian Broner beat Reese. Broner is a star in the making. He's the next Mayweather. I don't like his antics. He's clowning around for 2 rounds, gave 2 rounds away. Then he finally decides to fight. He gets Reese out of there. Reese was game, but not on the same level as Broner. Broner looks like a superstar, looks like the next Mayweather, so I did catch his fight. Nadal is back in tennis. He won his tournament. Good to see Nadal back. To me, I think we still need some new blood in tennis. It seems the same 3 or 4 guys wins every tournament. Need some new blood, especially on the men's side. Danica Patrick won the pole for the Daytona 500 this week coming up. Daytona 500 is on Sunday. Danica Patrick had the fastest time. She will start in the 1 position. She did win the pole. Now remember, just because you win the pole doesn't mean you're going to win the race. The last person to start from the 1 position and win was back in 2000. So it's not like it's a gimme if you start in that position, you win. Let me say this, though, about Danica Patrick. Now, when she raced in Indy, she didn't win much. I think she won 1 race over in Japan, and not a lot of the top drivers even were over there. She didn't win much. She had a couple, good outings. She had a couple good showings at the Indy 500. She's now over in NASCAR now. She's racing in Daytona this year. Richard Petty said she doesn't belong and women don't belong, in NASCAR. Richard Petty, all-time great driver, probably the best driver in, racing history. I mean, you want to argue that, fine. He's one of the best. I think he's the best. He's definitely up there. I disagree with Petty. I mean, Patrick, there's no other place she could go to race. It's not like they have a women's NASCAR. I mean, I understand she hasn't won much, and there's a lot of hype behind her, and now she's dating one of the fellow drivers. She definitely belongs. She can race. I mean, yeah, you'd like to see her win more, but there's plenty of guys in NASCAR that haven't won. Not everyone racing at the Daytona 500 has won a race, so it's unfair to say Danica Patrick doesn't belong because she's a woman. She can handle herself in the car. I think that was very, very out of line for Petty to say that. I think Danica Patrick definitely belongs. Would I like to see her win more? Yes. Do I like the hype around her? No, but she definitely belongs. It's not like there's a NASCAR women's league. If there was, yeah, she could be in that league and maybe not in the men's league, but there's not. She has no. If she wants to race, she has to race against the boys. I mean, she can hold her own in the car. I think Petty was out of line for that. To me, I have a bigger problem with Michelle Wie in golf. Michelle Wie is the golfer who used to always play against the men and just get destroyed by the men all the time. Meanwhile, they have a women's, golf tour, and Wie couldn't even beat the women, yet she was trying to challenge the men. I have more of a problem with Wie playing against the men because she couldn't beat the women, and they have women's golf. Patrick has no choice. They don't have women's NASCAR, so she has to race against the boys. That's not her fault. I think she belongs. I think, yeah, obviously she needs to start winning some races. Hasn't won much at all. There's a lot of hype around her, but she definitely belongs. You can't say she doesn't belong. I mean, she just won the pole here at Daytona. So, I mean, a little out of line by Petty. I know he's old school and, all that kind of stuff with women. We're in the year 2013. There's no women's NASCAR. I think Patrick definitely belongs. I mean, it's not like Michelle Wie in golf, where she was challenging the guys, getting blown out by the guys, when she couldn't even beat the girls. I mean, that's a different story. So I think Petty was a little out of line there. As far as tonight, what to watch, as far as your college basketball, like I said, Indiana at Michigan State, must-watch game. Could be one of the games of the year. I mean, you don't get better than that. Number 1 against number 4 at home. Tremendous game. Virginia at Miami, very important game for Virginia. Florida at Missouri, interesting game. And Virginia Commonwealth at St. Louis, underrated game, very underrated game. In hockey, Montreal at the Rangers, nice game if you're looking for some NHL tonight. Islanders at Ottawa, Toronto at Tampa, Toronto's playing well. San Jose at St. Louis, Vancouver at Chicago, very nice game. As far as your NBA, not a great night in the NBA tonight. Milwaukee at Brooklyn, ho-hum, looks like Williams will play. Boston at Denver, decent but not great. Golden State at Utah. We'll see if Golden State could get out of their doldrums. By the way, the NBA trading deadline is Thursday. We'll see if any teams make some major moves. So that kind of gets you caught up on what we missed over the weekend. You know what to watch for tonight. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to do our NHL tomorrow. Thursday, we're going to do our NBA. Plus, we're going to do a little Oscar preview because, believe it or not, we have the Oscars on Sunday. Did watch a few movies. I'll get to that on Thursday as well. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. You guys enjoyed your day today. Stay safe. Definitely watch some of those games tonight. Indiana, Michigan State. Must watch 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. Make sure you watch Indiana, Michigan State tonight. I'm picking Michigan State to upset #1 Indiana and storm the floor in East Lansing. You guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.